When a lot of people talk about FNaF fan songs, I feel like an important difference has to be made in the discussion. Are we talking about classic FNaF 1 to World era FNaF fan songs, or are we talking about more modern FNaF songs that are like post-Sister Location? Well, the difference matters more than you think, because it seems to me like a lot of people don't really mention or talk about the former that much. Outside of the Living Tombstone and maybe at most JT Music songs during this period, most people don't really talk about many other songs. And well, yes, a lot of you right now may be thinking about, oh, what about this song or this song? I want to present to you all a classic FNaF music artist that hasn't been talked about much, but when he has been publicly switched on. An artist with songs that used to be held as some of the best in the entire FNaF community, now held as just a laughingstock. But why is that? Because of controversy? None that I know of. It's because of a few little things called maturity, reassessment, and comparing old work to modern day work. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a retrospective on the artist groundbreaking in his Five Nights at Freddy's fan songs. And if you haven't figured out or remembered him yet, maybe this first song will remind you. Funny Song, yes, it is legitimately called that, is not Groundbreaking's first ever FNaF song. However, it is his most popular of all time, currently sitting at 34 million views as of January 2026. Also, holy shit, 11 years old, I feel ancient. This song, if you don't know Groundbreaking, should give you a good idea of what his FNaF songs sound like, especially this early on. His genre mainly is electronic, with it going hard into instrumentation and beat drops over lyrical quality, which is something that I will say Groundbreaking does really well and is very talented as. I really like the guitar solo in the Bonnie song. I think the instrumental helps it out a lot. Hell, even the part where he loops voice clips over and over doesn't sound bad either. There is a lot to talk about positively with the Bonnie song, especially because it is much more of a Withered Bonnie song, which makes me even more biased because Withered Bonnie is my favorite FNaF character. However, the lyrics are this song's major downside, but even then, compared to the other FNaF song I talked about with bad lyrics in the past, this one ain't that bad. I mean, come on. No, it just isn't fair. The chicken and the bear, even the fox didn't go through what I had to bear, is really corny because he's just referencing other FNaF characters and rhyming bear with a different spelling of itself. That's like rhyming red as in I read a book with red as in the color. Sure, it works because they are technically different words, but it still comes across as a lame rhyme scheme. Regardless though, I'd rather take any day over animatronics got me canatonic from There Go the Lights. But that is something you will hear me bring up a lot in these songs, is the lyrical quality. Also, Groundbreaking himself, especially in these early songs, was not the best singer out there. He did get better over time, at least with adding effects to aid his voice quality. But in this song, and especially the next one we'll talk about, his singing wasn't the greatest. Passable, but not remarkable.
All I have is my guitar, let me play a song for you.
Again, is the first ever FNaF fan song Groundbreaking made, and this song's lyrics feel more like a parody of FNaF songs than anything else. The instrumental was fine, but weaker than a lot of his other songs, as he doesn't go for any particular style other than generic FNaF electronic song. The lyrics are where this song get great, because this song has some absolute classics, such as, for example, the entire main chorus of the song. Here we are, we're back again, but why does the check say 1987? What's the past of this shady company? Okay, not the worst opener. What about the rest of the chorus?
Check those vents and check those lights.
So, check those vents, huh? He pronounces vents with an A instead of an E in it, which is just really funny to me. Also, this is easily his worst vocal performance out of all these songs. Just thought I should throw that in there. But come on, like, he name drops the marionette, Foxy, he names the game mechanics and the cameras, lights, and knocks, and tops it all off with Five Nights at over and over until the beat drop, which is really underwhelming for the most part of this song. The only part of this instrumental that sticks out to me is the little high-pitched wind chime like sound effect that plays in the instrumental. This song is overall pretty weak, but even then, I give this song a 4.5 at worst, maybe 5 or 6 at highest. Nostalgia is doing a lot of heavy lifting for me in enjoying this song nowadays.
I'm here to talk you through some of the things
The Mangle is a song that I remembered I really liked from him, but nowadays I just don't really remember this song all too much. With the Bonnie song, the instrumental was really solid. With Back Again, Check Those Vants is really funny. But the Mangle to me was always just a solid song. What about now? This song fucks. I am not sorry for that. I actually genuinely think the Mangle may be up there as my current favorite groundbreaking FNaF song. Sure, it has its typical groundbreaking lyric-isms like that's just listing what Mangle does in FNaF 2, although bonus points go out for respecting Mangle's gender. However, my favorite part of this song is Nicole Jean's performance as Mangle. I think she does such an amazing job for this performance and is probably the best singer on any of these groundbreaking FNaF songs. She gives a somewhat good job, not just singing, but in the bridge part, giving emotion and weight to her words that make that section even better. Hell, I just love the kind of double meaning of this song in particular. Instead of going the Bonnie song route and saying, oh, he's angry because he got replaced and nothing else, Mangle's turmoil feels a lot more grounded and tragic, and I just love it because it feels like it's trying to go for a different feeling here. Mangle longs to feel the way the other animatronics do. All it can do is just help them out on their quest for revenge on William Afton. But seeing Foxy, Mangle suffers from this imposter syndrome type character arc of feeling like it isn't real just because it can't register emotion or thinking the same way Foxy, who's possessed, can feel emotion. It just adds this sick, tragic kind of irony and dysphoria, which probably isn't the best word, but that's all I got, to Mangle's character that just is way deeper than the other two songs we've mentioned already. I also just really like this song's instrumental, how it starts with bass, then it goes into kicks, then synth, then the beat drop section, then this high-pitched breakdown section, which is both groundbreaking as I presume Mangle's second head, and Nicole as Mangle talking about it's out to get you. But every section of this song highlights and adds a new instrument to the instrumental, with the bridge, as previously mentioned, adding in the acoustic guitar into the mix, and I just love how all over the place and overwhelming this song is. It perfectly fits Mangle, and out of all the songs in this video, is the one I would probably suggest you go back and re-listen to the most. I just love the way this song sounds. It aged even better than I thought it was. Now, all this to say, it's like an 8 out of 10 at most, but still. You may be wondering, but Chris, when does the FNaF community turn on groundbreaking? Well, dear viewer, this next song may be a good example of the general view of his music over time in the FNaF scene. Buckle in, because next, we talk about Mr. Fazbear. Mr. Fazbear is a song that, even back when I was a kid listening to it, I just didn't care for. In fact, I don't even know if the nostalgia from this time period could even sway my opinion here. This song to me is what the broader community hears when they re-listen to any of these old groundbreaking songs. Really mediocre beat drop, constantly repeating "they call me" and "my name is" in the beat drop without ever answering the question in the song. Probably groundbreaking's weakest instrumentation, including what sounds like a dying MIDI piano playing the Toreador March in the beginning of this song, and overall, it's just a very uninspired song. When your chorus is literally just 4 sentences and all of them are just ways to include Nightmare, Phantom, and Toy Freddy in the song alongside classic Freddy, Fazbear, it just feels lazy. While this isn't when I would say the community turned on groundbreaking per se, I would say that this song is an example of the broader issue the community has reevaluating these songs back. Mr. Fazbear is just uninspired and made so that way he could quit getting comments about how he forgot to make a song for Freddy. Nostalgia can't save all of these songs, so I have to say that here, that this song just isn't good. Not even offensively so or anything, just mediocre and boring. Plushtrap is a very interesting song in Groundbreaking's discography. I do have to give him props for trying to tackle a new and unique approach to the instrumental here. The repeated and very fast bop, 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 vocal loops alongside the bass makes for an interesting opener. And I can't really forget that ear-piercing synth towards the end of the song, which... yeah, it's pretty bad. Lyrics-wise, the song is nothing remarkable. It's more about the locked chest at the end of FNaF 4 than it is about Plushtrap himself. Sorry I don't have a whole lot to say about this song, as overall I think it's just alright. It's the same reason why I'm not including Chica and No Strings in this video, as iconic as those songs are as well. Nothing really else to add to them without repeating myself here. However, I only particularly wanted to highlight Plushtrap just because of how different it sounds and almost intentionally sounds like it's supposed to hurt and be obnoxious. But if this song doesn't hurt your ears, then the next song definitely will. Where do I begin with the Foxy Song? Yeah, so this song is the main one that has been getting popular again recently and is the main reason I'm going back to this video. And if you can't tell, it isn't for the best reason at all. The Foxy Song is infamous for its second beat drop with an out-of-tune, screeching, ear-piercing violin section that sounds more like horror stings than actual music. I can't lie, when I was younger, I also found this song mediocre because of the violin section. For the most part, I really liked the melody, especially in the middle part before the violin section. And not including the violin, this song would have probably been one of my favorite beats that Groundbreaking made for any of his songs. I love the bass, the synth, and the loud boom of the drum. It all just sounds great. Sure, the lyrics aren't incredible, but hey, at least they're unique, considering the fact that Foxy is singing about wanting to literally escape the pizzeria and run around the world compared to the more metaphorical revenge everyone else wants. Overall, this song could be good and has really good aspects of it that is heavily barred down by one of the worst sections in any of these songs, and nowadays, this song has become the poster child for most of these groundbreaking songs. Which I do think is a little bit unfair, because some songs like the Mangle, I think hold up well, if not even better today than most of the songs we've talked about tonight. But how about we end it with Groundbreaking's not just final FNaF song, but his 3 final FNaF songs. The 2 times he tried to get out before he finally called it quits. Here is the big finale. Springtrap Finale is a song that means a lot to me. For the longest time, this song specifically was my favorite FNaF fan song of all time. Now, granted, it has fallen off significantly in the years since, but I still have a heavy attachment to this song. Hell, I remember watching someone react to the song and not knowing what it was about, so I looked it up, and this song is specifically the reason I found out about Five Nights at Freddy's. If this song didn't exist, I may not have known what the hell a Freddy Fazbear was. So, to say that this song is important to me is an incredible understatement. I deeply still like Springtrap Finale with a lot of gut feelings telling me to claim it is still my favorite groundbreaking FNaF song, but I just feel like the Mangle has beaten this song to that title for me. And it's not because this song is bad, far from it. This is still my second favorite groundbreaking FNaF song, and the competition isn't even close. I love the instrumental for this song and how jumpy it sounds and just how high energy it is. The vocal performance from Groundbreaking himself is actually really strong here, and I love the way he actually sings and hits most of the notes with no issue. The only real gripe I have with this song due to its aging is just because of how much more we know about William Afton since this song came out. Reminder, this song came out a few weeks after FNaF 3 released, so we didn't have a lot to work with when it comes to his story. At best, you can see the lyrics as Springtrap trying to manipulate the listener to feel sympathy for him and to victim blame everyone but himself. At worst, you can read this song as Springtrap is a tragic character and this is a sympathy piece. I prefer to think of this song with the former intention, being the him manipulating you route, but you never fully know with the 2015 FNaF fandom. Regardless, this song for the most part is just really catchy. It's sung incredibly well. It doesn't have many of the groundbreaking lyric tropes besides for, I guess, but besides that, I love this song to pieces. It means a lot to me, and it is really hard to detach the feeling nostalgia I have for this song. But I still think this song is really good regardless. Now, this song was his first attempt to end making FNaF music. But when it came clear that Scott Cawthon was making a fourth game, he decided to come back and make the Foxy Song alongside a few other FNaF 4 songs. Which takes us to his second attempt at finishing making FNaF music. Other groundbreaking songs so far is actually a lot slower and less high energy. For the most part, these songs are pretty energetic with some serious bass and power behind them, but Groundbreaking does something different here. Not on the realm of Plushtrap different, but more so in the slowing it down and being his final song for FNaF at the time, being a sort of goodbye to the franchise. Complaining about the clues and puzzle pieces left in what's supposed to be the final chapter of the series, how even if it's bittersweet or not the right choice, the franchise should end. Alongside this rather emotional piano-only bridge where it sounds like Groundbreaking accepts that FNaF won't end and he'll have to go on and make his own music while the fanbase leaves him behind for not keeping up with FNaF. And well, for the most part that was true. I really like A Bitter End. I like how it sounds. I love Groundbreaking's vocal performance. And I think the more simplistic and restrained, tragic instrumental really works well here. Now, Mr. Fazbear was technically the end of his FNaF songs for a while, but eventually he came back with 3 songs. Real Boy, a song about Balloon Boy, Don't Hold It Against Us, and finally, his final ever FNaF song. Real Boy and Don't Hold It Against Us are okay songs, but I never listened to them until recently, so I don't have much of a stake to put in them opinion-wise. But this last song is a song I do really like. This is Groundbreaking's truly final ever FNaF song. This is my Ennard. I love this song. Not as much as the Mangle or Springtrap Finale, but this is 100% the third best Groundbreaking FNaF song, which is really funny considering how spiteful this song is. This song is essentially Groundbreaking venting about being stuck making FNaF fan songs and uses the story of Ennard and Sister Location to get that across. I love so much about this song, how it starts with "Aren't we despicable endoskeletons meshed together to feel so perfect? We are so hungry for real life." Like, he's almost making fun of his lyrical tropes in the past. The line about being shocked when you're away equals to being flamed for not pumping out more FNaF songs. The final lyrics before the first beat drop symbolize how much he has grown to spite and hate the FNaF community as a result of all of this. Now, the first beat drop is probably my least favorite part of the song. I really don't like the extremely high-pitched synth notes. Kind of reminds me of the part in Plushtrap, just instead of the notes being held down, it's just like a few quick like piano taps. The second verse is probably the most transparent lyrics you could hear about the theme of the song. When everybody asked for a little more, I go a little crazy because I know before that no one expected any more from my rotten core. Is him just being blunt and saying, why do you expect more from me when I try to give more of my original stuff and you all ignore me or hate on me? The chorus literally ends with the line, maybe I can get out of what you want to be my fate, before it goes into the second beat drop where he includes an audio sample saying, I don't want to do it anymore repeatedly. This song is so unbelievably spiteful and clear about Groundbreaking's opinions on making FNaF songs that it goes from a you people all suck song to a damn Groundbreaking really has a point here song. I love this song because out of all of these songs, this is the only one that feels real and authentic. In the beginning, he sings, we are so hungry for real life, and here he brings that by bringing his real feelings, his real struggle, his real spite into this place and makes it uncomfortable for all of us, and I love it. This is genuinely one of my favorite FNaF songs just because of the lyrical quality, but the vocal performance is insanely strong here as well. Probably the best performance we've gotten from Groundbreaking out of any of his FNaF songs. I just love My Ennard. It's genuinely such a good song, even without the meaning behind it. What a way to go out. He got out of what we wanted to be his fate. Well, thus ends Groundbreaking's FNaF discography and my retrospective of it. Sure, I know I didn't touch on all of the songs, but songs like Chica and No Strings, I just don't have anything interesting to add to them, and stuff like Real Boy and Don't Hold It Against Us are songs that I don't have any nostalgia for, so therefore they wouldn't really be a retrospective. But what has Groundbreaking done since these songs? Well, for a while, he got really spiteful still towards his audience. He made a bunch of Undertale songs around the same time the FNaF songs were being made and kind of just dumped both communities. He made a bunch of joke videos like Tattletale Bendy Ink Machine song Nightmare Golden Freddy Returns, or Bendy the Rules, which is a FNaF, Undertale, and Bendy song where he sings about how fickle the audience is and how continually just making music to jump on trends will get you nowhere. He wasn't very subtle about how much he hated the audience who only want him to sing about Freddy Fazbear. And while he stopped addressing the Nerdcore community and quit making Nerdcore music, he kept on making his own stuff to moderate success, but obviously less than in his FNaF days. In fact, it took until 2025 when he started his series of live streams called Purgatory for him to even address the FNaF songs again. But watching these Purgatory videos, I found something interesting. He obviously is having fun and poking fun at his old songs and not really enjoying them, but halfway through when he listens to, ironically enough, A Bitter End, he admits that it just kind of clicks for him now and he gets it. Groundbreaking ends the Purgatory streams actually not having spite from his most popular songs anymore, which is genuinely great to see. Tragically, this coincides with the community starting to poke fun at his songs, specifically the Foxy Song's aforementioned violin solo. So most of his work isn't regarded highly anymore, but he seems to be content with it finally. And I think I want to end the video on this note. The FNaF fandom is not a monolith. This should be the lesson everyone takes away. If you are one of the millions of kids who grew up with these songs and still love them all these years later like me, you're valid. If you grew up with these songs and dislike them now, you're valid. If you never liked them or didn't grow up with them, that's valid. Trying to frame the entire community's opinion on something as a definitive take is always a dumb opinion. Groundbreaking treated all FNaF fans as only there for FNaF when he ended up making a smaller but still loyal fan base dedicated to his original work still to this day because of his FNaF songs getting them to him. People, including myself shamefully enough, act like the entire community now despises all of these songs. There is a nuanced answer there, and that answer is simply that people are gonna like the music they like. If your favorite Groundbreaking song is Plushtrap, great, not my pick, but it's yours. Groundbreaking compared to other early artists of the times who've fallen from grace, like Manto Pony or Griffinella, Groundbreaking did nothing anywhere near as bad as them to have his whole catalog of work summed up to being bad. The worst Groundbreaking ever did was just hate on some kids for asking for a Withered Golden Freddy song. Sure, his music style and some of his tropes may not be to your liking, but that doesn't mean that the song itself is bad. Some of them may have gone for something more experimental and just failed. Some didn't age well due to the age the song was written in, and some just boil down to personal preference. But if you try to compare these songs to modern FNaF songs, that's where you fall off into the wrong area with your opinions, because these are two totally different eras of FNaF. When these songs came out, artists like The Stupendium and CG5 weren't even making Nerdcore yet. I no longer consider Groundbreaking as part of the big three FNaF artists that I did when I was younger. To me, Groundbreaking, JT Music, and The Living Tombstone were all the best FNaF song artists, but over time, Groundbreaking fell out of that discussion. And you know what? That's what he wanted, and I'm fine with that. I'm glad Groundbreaking has his audience. He still makes music, and he has come to reappreciate these songs, and I'm hoping the community can shed more light on this era of FNaF artists. Because all things told, these songs got huge, and there are hundreds of other songs of this time period that have been lost to time. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, donate to me on Ko-Fi, and even share the video if you liked it that much. And as always, I'll see you on the next video. Bye!